Hello, today is October 3rd, 2015. My name is Michael Johnston. I am a graduate student in China, and today we're going to be talking about taking a cab in China. Taxis are everywhere in China. You'll find them all over the place. I've literally never been to one corner of this country where they didn't have cabs driving all over the place. And you can take a taxi fairly cheaply. Today we'll talk a little bit about the experience, what it is to taxi in China. So most places have little taxi companies, and all of them seem to be the same. Every taxi cab in China looks the same. They look like Crown Victoria, but a little bit smaller, blue or green. On the top will be, your typical taxi sign thing. And then in the front, right in front of the windshield, they'll have a little red light with the Chinese word Kong, K-O-N-G, flat tone, written on it in neon letters. The word Kong means empty or vacant, meaning that the cab is vacant. It's very useful because when you see that shiny red light, you know the cab is empty. When you don't see that shiny red light, you know the cab is occupied. The word for taxi in Chinese is 出租车. 出租 means to rent, and then 车 means car. So it literally translates as rent car, as in a car that you rent, a taxi. 出租车. The word for driver, you can say two ways. You can either say 司机, S-I flat tone, J-I flat tone, or you can say 开车的, which means driver. 司机 is more polite. When you get into a taxi in China, the first thing that's going to happen is the driver is going to ask you, where do you want to go? When you tell him, and you're going to have to speak Chinese or have a map or something ready, what he or she should do is he should then take the red light, I told you before, on the dashboard right in front of the windshield is a LED display with the Chinese word Kong, K-O-N-G, flat tone, which means vacant or empty, written on it. He should grab that thing, pull it down, okay, like a lever. Once he does that, the meter inside of the car is going to start running. 你好，我要去海沧。海沧，对，要去海沧一个花园，叫维多利亚花园，知道吗？好的，谢谢你。One thing you need to be careful of is some taxi drivers will not run the meter. Instead, what they'll do is they'll let you hop into the car, they'll drive you somewhere, and then after you arrive, they'll be like, oh, I forgot to run the meter. But don't worry, I know that the price that it would normally take to get here will be X RMB and charge you maybe 2 or even 3 times the normal price. Make sure when you take a cab in China that you run the meter. In Chinese, the word for run the meter is da biao. That's D-A, third tone, B-I-A-O, third tone. And remember, when you have 2 third tones, the first one changes to a second tone. So in fact, it would be da biao. It means hit the meter or run the meter. The way things work in China is the meter, it starts off at a set price and then it rapidly goes up. I know in Xiamen, the base price is 8 RMB. So that's a little bit more than $1, okay? So that's not expensive, 8 RMB. That 8 RMB will last for like the first couple miles. If the distance you're going in the taxi is relatively close, you're not going to even go above 8 RMB. Okay, the first couple miles, it stays at 8 RMB. But after the first maybe 10 miles, then the meter starts to automatically go up. 1 jiao, that's 1 10-cent piece, or a tenth of a dollar per kilometer. So in other words, you start off at a set price, and if the distance you're going isn't very far, you're not going to pay more than that price. In Xiamen, the set price is 8 RMB. So when you get in the cab and he pulls the meter down, the meter will automatically read 8 RMB. And as he drives you around, it will stay set at 8 RMB for the first couple miles. And then it will begin to go up 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, and so on, riding in a taxi. But if you're like me and you live in China, taking a taxi every day can be expensive. But back in the old days, when I was an English teacher, you could take a cab every day. It didn't really affect your income too much because it's not that expensive. It only becomes expensive when you have to go a very far distance. When you finally get to the destination you want, the cabbie will flip the little red sign in the front that says vacant. He will flip it back up, and as soon as he does that, the meter will stop running and it will print a receipt for you.
就这个门。
对，就是这个门口。啊。
42块。
42块 ，OK。好的。
要票吗？
要。
感谢您乘坐厦门出租车，请携带好随身物品，从右侧车门下车。谢谢您的合作。请您对本次服务做出评价。
42是吧？
对。
好的，好，谢谢你。
好，不用客气，祝你好运啊！
你也是啊。好，谢谢。
好。
Most taxis in China also have a fuel surcharge. That will not be included on the meter. Usually it will be written on a sign. So I know in Xiamen the fuel surcharge is 2 RMB more above whatever price the meter is on. If the meter has run to a point where it has a fraction of a dollar, when they charge the fuel surcharge, they take the extra change behind the dollar and they just throw it away. Okay, so 15.3, round down, it's 15, add 2 RMB for fuel, it's 17. Okay, it's pretty cool. Yeah, if you have problems with a taxi driver, you can usually get their phone number from a little sign set up on the dashboard that will tell you their information. Another thing in China, something that you need to look out for, is something called black cabs. Hei che, hei means black, che means car. Black cabs are not real taxis. They're private people, private car owners. These black cabs are a ripoff because every one of them will charge you many times more money than the taxis will. One time I was late for work and I really needed to get there, and the only option was to take one. And he was like, if I took a cab to work normally, it would be about 20 RMB. But when I took him, he charged me 100. He wanted to charge me 200, and I bargained him down. Don't take black cabs. Riding in the taxi affords you a lot of opportunities to take video of the streets of China.
放在房的背边。
哦，是吗？
它就冻得很好，就不用用那个就好。
哦，你说你家里面有宾馆是吧？
我们家有。
冰箱哦。有。
就老一辈嘛。
哦。
老一辈在农村没有嘛。车的危险度可能导致车型受到的一个缓慢的后方的一个打车，特别提醒了所有的在海丰大桥出岛方向正在行车的朋友们，尽快的也安全的通过事故现场给后面的车呢腾出一些时间来。All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you. Goodbye.